All right, I see that someone has joined. So, hi. Obviously, you've found my YouTube channel. On here, I just I mostly sing song covers on like my channel and stuff. But on live streams, I kind of just I don't know. I kind of just chat with whoever joins. But also I am but also like feel free to ask questions in the chat. And if you want me to sing something on the live stream, I will. Let me try and think of, I don't know, what to talk about. um well, last time I mentioned how I name my live stream thing or series or whatever Lily Chat, and it's supposed to be an homage to Squidward Chat from the SpongeBob episode Tentacle Vision. I went on a tangent about modern SpongeBob last time, but I'm not sure that I want to do that again because I don't want like every live stream to be the same or something. I watched a ton of movies last month, so let me just think of even one of them. Um, well, there was Interstellar. Uh, so I know that Interstellar is like this classic movie, or maybe not classic movie. I don't know if it quite bears that title, but like very beloved, at least by a certain crowd. I think there's also a certain crowd of people who were like, "No, I actually didn't really like this movie. You're overhyping it." But there are also definitely it's very acclaimed in general. But I hadn't seen it up until the day after my last live stream. Actually, I watched it, and my brother had told me ahead of time that he did not like it, and that well, basically that he didn't like it. And so going into it, I was like, oh, it's probably overrated or whatever. But I loved it. It was so good. But yeah, a bit later in the month, I was at a friend's house and I mentioned to my friend and her brother and his friends that I had not seen Interstellar until recently. And they were like, "What? You haven't seen Interstellar?" And I don't know why when you say certain things, people will like get offended. Almost not offended, offended. They're not like, "How dare you? You're a terrible person." But I don't know, it still comes across as like they're getting kind of offended. Um, for example, I don't know, maybe someone will get offended hearing this, but I've never been a huge Marvel fan. There are some Marvel things that I've seen because my brother, the same one who did not like Interstellar, he loves Marvel in general. and because we spend a lot of time together, I have watched some Marvel things with him, some of which I liked, and my friend who's watching this just texted me saying that she's offended. uh, but anyway, so I have seen some things that I liked, but there are other things that, well, a lot of other things that I did not like, and sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so sometimes when I tell people that I'm not a huge Marvel fan, including right now, apparently, then people will be like, "What? You don't like Marvel?" And I'm just like, "Ah." But yeah, and then there are a few other things where I've gotten that reaction that I can't think of right now. Except for the Interstellar thing, obviously. All right, my friend who is watching this is texting me because the live chat thing isn't working. She said, "How dare you not like Marvel?" And she's also asking. She also asked me what I think about DC. So I haven't seen nearly as many DC things in comparison to like Marvel. Although the same brother also loves DC. So I mean, I can ask him what he thinks. Not what he thinks. Sorry, I can ask him to watch a DC thing with me, and I will get back to you. I think I may have seen like part of one DC thing at some point. I don't know. It's not nearly as emphasized in my household, or honestly by people in general. I just roasted DC. um, Honestly, I don't think I'll like it very much, but I could be wrong. And it could be like Marvel, where there are some DC things that I like. I will say, my brothers and my dad were very into Superman and Lois for a while. I don't know if you've seen that show. You should watch the new Superman and Supergirl movies. Oh, yeah. So, well, let me finish talking about Superman and Lois, and then I will get to the Superman and Supergirl movies. I did. It wasn't like a show that I was like binging with my dad and my brothers, but I did kind of like Superman and Lois. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could see myself going back to the beginning of the series and getting into it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll make an attempt at that. But anyway, the Superman and Supergirl movies. My brother, the same brother. Because, like I said, we hang out a lot. Back in 2025, I think it was 2025, when, yeah, it was 2025. Because I remember seeing the trailer in this motion picture directing thing that I did. I can explain what that was in a sec if you want me to. But anyway, 2025 Superman movie is coming out. My brother, shockingly, was going to go see it. It's so shocking that he, a big Marvel and DC fan, would want to go watch a DC movie. And he wanted me to go see it with him, and he was hyping it up. And at first, I was like, no, sorry. Eventually I asked him, "Are you actually that excited for the movie, or do you just want me to spend time with you?" And he said he actually wanted me to spend time with him, which was really wholesome. And I ended up not going. I forget why. I promise I'm a good sister. Okay? Oh, never mind. But my brother and my dad, and I think maybe my other brother, I don't know, they ended up going to watch the Superman and Supergirl movie. Not oh my gosh. The Superman movie with David Cornsweet. They actually have not seen the Supergirl movie. But anyway, they ended up going to see it, and they told me that it actually wasn't that good. I mean, I'd still be willing to watch the Superman movie. My brother has actually suggested watching it again, although I think he was joking. Like, I could technically be wrong, but I think he was joking. Sorry to roast your movie. But I do think ultimately he'd be open to me watching it with him if that's something you want me to do and something I'd be willing to do. I mean, at the very least, again, I did watch two of the trailers actually, and I think David Cornsweet Superman is pretty handsome, so I guess I'll at least have that going for me if I'm not enjoying the movie very much. Wow. And then, yeah, the Supergirl movie, I've seen it. Well, I guess I'll wait until you come back on. Hold on. So I guess they don't like comic book accurate characters. Shaking my head. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know whether they're accurate or not, but I will tell my brother and father that you said that. So anyway, the Supergirl movie, I've seen I've seen like the trailers for it and stuff just while I've been watching TV. I did not see it in theaters, which probably comes as a shock to you. But what was I gonna say? Sorry, I haven't been getting much sleep lately. I think I said that in my last live stream too, because I'm terrible at getting enough sleep. But I will try it out. I do enjoy discovering new movies, even if I end up not liking it very much. I'm very much into movies, which is why it's one of the first things that came to mind when I needed something to talk about on here. Oh, also, wrong hand. It's weird to have everything like flipped on here. I do apologize for this for this um for this, I don't know, visual thing over here. I think it's coming from my fan. I have it on the lowest setting. I had it on the highest setting before and it was like worse, but ultimately I do not want to turn off the fan because I don't want to die of heat in here. Um anyway, I don't have much to say about Supergirl because again, I haven't seen it other than the trailers. You're gonna get more offended, but I think my brother said he doesn't really want to watch it. I've seen, I don't know, some YouTube videos suggested to me that's like commentary about the movie and how it was, but I forget what it said because I didn't pay much attention to it because I didn't have an incentive to see the movie until right now. Maybe if you really do want me to see it, which I'll put it on the list. Hold on just a sec. Okay. Let me think of some other movies that I've watched this month. Again, I've watched. Oh, there's The Labyrinth. I watched that one with one of my friends. I didn't expect to watch it with her, but she often, when I'm at her house, she will spontaneously be like, "Hey, you want to watch this movie?" And I sometimes I say yes, sometimes I say no, but in this case I said yes. So, Superman is out on streaming, but Supergirl is still in theaters. Oh, okay. That's good to know. Maybe I'll just wait until Supergirl comes out on streaming. I mean, I feel like it'll cost a lot of not I feel like. I'm pretty sure it'll cost a lot of money at first. So maybe I know sometimes if you have something on a streaming service, then you can watch it for free while it's insanely expensive for other people still. That's actually what I was able to do with A Complete Unknown. I remember so I wouldn't say I'm like a huge Bob Dylan fan, but I'm definitely like a Bob Dylan fan. And I so when A Complete I'm also well I used to be a Timothy Chalamet fan. I'm not so sure right now. I'm not going to get into it unless you want me to, but like I don't know, given some things he's done recently, even since my last live stream, where I also briefly brought up Timothy Chalamet and how I'm not sure how I feel about him, he's done even more things, and it's getting harder and harder to defend him. I don't know, maybe I'm giving him too much credit and I shouldn't be defending him at all. But anyway, A Complete Unknown came out, and I was a fan of both Bob Dylan and Timothy Chalamet at the time, so I was like, okay, I definitely want to watch this movie. And then when it was released in theaters, I wasn't really able to watch it. At the time, I didn't have my driver's license, even though I was 17, almost 18. And I guess no one really wanted to bring me. Maybe I didn't advocate for myself enough or something. I don't think my mom would have wanted to watch it in theaters, although she did end up watching it with me. I don't know. I think she said something about it costing too much in the theaters, but I could be wrong. My brain could be making that up. Honestly. Anyway, the point is, I could not watch it in theaters for whatever reason. Or did not. Maybe it wasn't could not. I don't remember. I did not watch it in the theaters, even though I wanted to. And so then, it came out on Amazon Prime or something, but it cost like $30 to buy and $25 to rent or something like that. I was like, that's insane. What is happening? Because that was actually my first encounter with how insanely expensive movies are to buy after they've just left the movie theater stage or whatever, or sometimes not even left the movie theater stage, but they're still available on there. I'm not quite sure how it works, how those releases go. Hold on a sec. My friend's been texting me, so I want to make sure I don't neglect her. Buy tickets with your student ID. It'll be cheaper. Oh, well, I actually, I don't want to like reveal my location or anything. And I think saying what community college I used to go to, that we used to go to, actually will reveal where we went, I guess. So I'll just say I actually don't think I'm going to go there anymore because I'm working towards getting a medical billing and coding certificate, probably this upcoming semester. Not semester, school year. But I will keep that in mind, and I actually come to think of it, I'll probably get a new student ID at the different community college that I'll be getting this certification from, because the one I'm going to right now doesn't have that one available. So actually, that'll still work, and I will definitely keep that in mind, especially with all the movies I want to see. Okay, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I just wanted to talk about A Complete Unknown and stuff, to go on that tangent about how frustrating it was to. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention how I was able to see the movie. Thankfully, I have Disney Plus, and they had it for free on Disney Plus for some reason, so I did get to watch it in like late March. So yeah, Um. Oh yeah, I wait. Hold on. Did she? Okay, she didn't say anything else. I thought maybe I got another text and I didn't want to ignore that. Oh my gosh, what was I gonna? I mean, I know what I was gonna talk about, but I don't know if I want to go on a tangent about that. Actually, I think I will talk about the labyrinth. So anyway, I mentioned that I happened to watch it because my friend wanted to watch it, and actually, all I really knew about the labyrinth prior was that like it was this movie, and wow, a movie is a movie. Such shocking news. Um, and that David Bowie was in it, and that he had like makeup, which I know is shocking for David Bowie. Um, and that he had this like big wig thing, which I don't know a ton about David Bowie, except I've listened to some of his songs. Life on Mars is awesome. Although, oh, and Under Pressure, that's not technically just David Bowie. That's like Queen and David Bowie, but I love that song. Anyway, but I know enough to know that he had a pretty flamboyant style. So maybe the big wig wasn't unusual for him either. I don't know. But sorry, I keep saying So I was intrigued because I kind of always wanted to see that movie and see what it was actually about, and also I don't know. Maybe not everybody feels this way, but at least for me, like with Interstellar, for example, there's often this want, at least for me, to like see certain movies just to be like, yeah, I did see that movie if it's a super well-known movie. And I read about the Labyrinth afterwards, and apparently it didn't do super well at first, but has since been viewed more positively. But at the time I just knew about the positive perspective on it. So yeah. Anyway, I mean it wasn't my kind of movie, but to be honest, I'm kind of picky. So that wasn't super surprising to me that it wasn't my kind of movie. But yeah, it was interesting. Definitely, I feel like it's definitely one of those movies that like traumatize a generation of children or something, because the premise is, I hope I don't give any spoilers. I hate spoilers, so even though it's like a movie from the 1980s, because I feel like some people will be like, the movie has been out for such a long time, it's your fault if you haven't seen it. That bothers me a bit, so I'm gonna try not to give any spoilers. But I mean, I think talking about the beginning of the movie isn't gonna be super spoilery. The premise of the movie is pretty freaky in and of itself. There's this teenage girl named Sarah who is not a fan of her home life, and I mean, she is over the top about it, but I also totally understand where she's coming from because her dad and stepmom aren't that great. Although she's so mad at her little brother who's like a baby and didn't do anything, and I don't quite understand that. But I don't know. My friend didn't like the baby, and I was like, he's a baby, and she was like, he's spoiled, and I was like, that's not his fault. He's a baby. But anyway, so yeah, she's very upset and stuff, and she has this play that she's very into called The Labyrinth, and it's basically, I think, I wasn't quite clear on this, but I think the play is supposed to be very similar to the thing that actually exists in real life. And she sees that, and she, based on the play, she sees that she thinks it's fake, but like she believes, no, I'm so sorry. Not believes. Based on the premise of the play, she sees that within that fantasy world, there we go, she could wish her little brother away and then her brother would disappear or whatever. So, because she assumes that nothing's going to happen if she makes an attempt at that, she makes an attempt at that. And then her brother disappears from his crib. And David Bowie, aka King Jareth, shows up and is basically like, I took your little brother, but if you want to go through the labyrinth and, try to make it through it, because it's like this maze with a bunch of obstacles and riddles and stuff, I think. It was kind of a confusing movie. Then, assuming you can complete it in 13 hours, then you can get your brother back. And I mean, the whole labyrinth is pretty freaky, and there's a lot of like uncanny valley characters, and so that sort of thing is what I mean when I talk about the nightmare fuel and the traumatizing a generation of kids. And then also, I mean, King Jareth, I don't know how much I can say without YouTube having a problem with it. So I'm going to be a bit euphemistic, although I also want to try not to trivialize this because it's a very serious issue, and I feel like sometimes the censoring of certain language can cause that to happen. King Jareth has some feelings towards Sarah that are extremely problematic, and honestly, I didn't quite notice them except for the scene where he wants to dance with her in the ballroom scene. If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, but you go and see it after watching me talk about this, then you'll still probably know what I'm talking about. But I read about the movie afterwards because I like reading about movies even if I didn't like them very much. Yeah, apparently he had those feelings for her were pretty prominent the whole time, and I just didn't notice. So, I mean, maybe it is a situation where I'm not the only one who didn't notice, and that's a part of why they were able to get away with that in a movie, but like, what in the actual hell? So yeah, I guess that's all that I have to oh, there's one more thing I want to say about the labyrinth, and this will be another thing where you won't understand unless you have seen the movie or watched the movie after watching this. I would die for Ludo. Like, there really aren't very many fictional characters that I would say that I would die for, but Ludo, yes. He is so precious that it's just hard not to say that, as weird as that might sound. Hold on just a sec. Oh yeah, so the other thing I was going to talk about, I was talking about like seeing trailers for movies that I may or may not want to see, and I was going to talk about 2 movies that I saw trailers for recently that I am very intrigued by. So the first one was The Social Reckoning. Apparently, I mean, I just saw the name of it and I was like, social? Is this sociological? Because I'm very into sociology and that sort of thing. Or, well, I guess if I was very into sociology, then that would mean that I knew a bunch of the terms and stuff. And I don't currently. I want to learn more about it, though. I did take an intro to sociology class, but that was a dual enrollment thing during my senior year of high school, so I'm not quite sure how much I remember now since I am 19 and going into my second year of sorry, again, I'm just not used to being on the opposite side of things. So seeing my right hand on my left side just caught me off guard. This fall, I will be going into my second year of college. But anyway, I saw that name and I was like, ooh, what is this about? If you don't know, it turns out it's a sequel to the movie The Social Network, which is about Mark Zuckerberg founding Facebook. So that's yeah, but The Social Reckoning is about Mark Zuckerberg stealing people's information and just that whole process and him getting sued and stuff. And I think there's like this journalist who's trying to expose him, but she's going through a bunch of obstacles. But I could be wrong about that. Maybe that's not what was happening. I don't know. It seemed like there were people trying to expose him and they were encountering obstacles due to Facebook being a giant company. So, although it wasn't sociological, I am still very intrigued, and I will be sat on October 9th. Not exactly on its release date. Probably I will be sat at my earliest convenience during or after October 9th. And then another one, there was just this teaser trailer that I saw yesterday for a movie called Buddy, which seems to be this horror film. I don't know, it didn't show that much, honestly, except that it seems to be like this kid's show with a Barney-like figure, or Hip Hop Harry-like figure, if you've ever seen that show. I have, but I was 13 when my sister, who is much younger than me, got into it a bit for a time. Yeah, that was real fun. But also, I'm very nostalgic for that time in my life. So, yeah, I don't know. It still has a nostalgic component for me. We ended up watching an episode again yesterday, even though my sister is in middle school now. Because my sister wanted to, and I ultimately was annoyed but didn't care enough to say no, I guess. So I got to be nostalgic and also be annoyed. Yeah, anyway, I was talking about a horror movie, and yeah, it seems like, I don't know, something frightening is happening. Again, if you've seen the teaser trailer, or again, if you go to watch it after watching this live stream, it's kind of confusing, or at least I found it to be kind of confusing. Maybe other people who watched it gathered more than I did, like with the labyrinth. I don't know. I miss things sometimes. I mean, I guess everyone does, but I feel like I miss things more often, or maybe I don't. I don't know. I feel like I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something, but my cell phone started to ring. That was from Trapped in the Drive-Thru by Weird Al Yankovic. Great song. I highly recommend it. I think I may have sung slightly wrong lyrics, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But Weird Al is pretty awesome in general. I can't say I'm like a super fan, but I've definitely listened to a lot of his songs. I would say I'm probably familiar with a good amount of his hits. I Lost on Jeopardy is honestly a pretty relatable song as someone who has watched a lot of Jeopardy with her parents and doesn't get the answers right quite often. I don't know, my dad has told me that I hope I don't sound braggy saying this, but my dad has told me that I get an impressive amount of answers right for someone of my age. And also, it honestly, I haven't done it in a while. It's been a few years, so I was also a bit younger during this time. But yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. But I have heard. Hold on, I dropped my ring. I have heard complaints from others before that Jeopardy is pretty hard for them. And also, there's the song I Lost on Jeopardy, which seems to be based on that premise. I could be wrong. Maybe it's supposed to be exaggerating. Well, it is supposed to be exaggerating how hard it is to be on Jeopardy, obviously. But maybe it's exaggerating even more. Like maybe it's going, instead of taking Jeopardy is hard and exaggerating that, it's instead going, yeah, Jeopardy's a little hard sometimes, and exaggerating that. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, I keep feeling like I was gonna say something and then forgetting what I was gonna say. Oh, I remember now. But they also have Pop Culture Jeopardy. It's not nearly as well known and it's a much newer show, but I love it's been a while, but I love watching Pop Culture Jeopardy with my family because you may not have noticed, but I'm very into pop culture, meaning I know a lot of the answers, and my family is not as into pop culture. So I get to seem smart and knowledgeable. And Colin Jost is attractive. How much of my digital footprint is just gonna be me talking about men I find to be attractive? I don't know. Probably a concerning amount, though. I'm kind of boy crazy. But Eat It is also Eat It was like the first Weird Al song that I heard. I think actually Yoda may have been the first one. That one's not as well known. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of it these days. But I did really like that song when I was younger. I'm sorry to people out there who like that song. So that may have been my first Weird Al song, actually. I'm trying to think, what are some like lesser known Weird Al songs that I really like? I mean, eBay, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but it's worth checking out. Word Crimes and Stop Forwarding That Crap to Me are both good ones. That, now that I think about it, are not as well known, I think. Maybe. I'm pretty sure. Possibly. What else? I mean, again, I saw a lot of movies last month, like probably a record for me. So I should definitely be able to think of some to talk about. Um, I'm just laughing because I'm going from being like, I should definitely be able to think of something to just like struggling. Oh my god. I'm trying to like, I don't know, list some of them in my head because I already talked about My Sister's Keeper on the last live stream. It is so good. I mean, I am slightly conflicted about it because I read more about like the book and how the movie diverted from the book, especially since they changed the ending and also maybe the intentions of one of the characters. I mean, the thing I was reading said that they for sure changed the intentions of one of the characters, but honestly, I think it's possible that they didn't and they just poorly communicated. Like they wanted to keep the same intentions but just poorly communicated them as opposed to the book, which I haven't read the book, but I assume communicated them more clearly. I hope I'm not being too vague for like I'm trying to not be specific for people who haven't seen the movie or read the book and want to, but I also for people who have done both or done one of those, I don't want to be so vague that they're like, what is she talking about? So I'll just say, ooh, I'll put it this way. When I'm talking about people's intentions, I mean their intentions that led them to that led Anna to want to get medical emancipation in the first place. Okay, I did it. All right, and then Interstellar was the next movie that I watched, and I already talked about Interstellar, but is there another thing I can talk about? I don't know. Oh, I will. I will say this. I very much remember thinking about how Tom had been neglected, especially since, like, okay, I'm trying to think of, like, how to talk about this without spoiling it. I'll just say this. Cooper, at the end, oh yeah, so Tom is Cooper, the main character's son, for those of you who don't know. Cooper only goes to see his daughter at the end and does not ask about his son. I'm hoping that one statement is enough for people who've seen the movie to be like, I know exactly what you're talking about, but vague enough that those who haven't seen it aren't like, hey, spoiler alert. So yeah, I mean, there are other things too, but that was like one of the major things where it's like, excuse me. But yeah, I was happy to see that other people also had that complaint. Because what the heck? Although apparently there's a novelization of the movie. Apparently there are a lot of novelizations of movies. I did not know that until recently, until I started to read about movies more on actually I'm gonna do some free advertising on TV tropes. Most of the time when I say I've read about a movie or a TV show, I mean that I went on to TV tropes because they are an awesome website. Highly recommend if you're into that kind of thing. I don't know. It might be a pretty niche thing or not. I don't know. But again, if you're into that kind of thing, definitely check it out. But anyway, yeah, apparently there's a novelization in which they try to make Tom less neglected or something like that, which makes me think that the writers did not intend that to happen and it was an honest mistake on their part that they, tried to remedy after in the novelization after hearing about people's complaints. All right. swear I'd watched a lot of movies in June. Okay, so that was the 6th, 7th. I didn't watch any. Shockingly. 8th, 9th. It's not like I'm going to remember exactly what I was doing on all of these days. Oh my gosh. Actually, wait. I actually do remember. Okay, technically, on the 9th, I watched part of a movie that I've seen before, and then I fully watched another movie that I've also seen a million times, way more than the other one that I saw part of, actually. So first, people in my house were watching The Chronicles of Narnia before I'd come down, so, like, you know, I caught a good amount of it. And yeah, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe specifically. I just remembered that even though I think the first one is the most popular, there are sequels. So yes, let me specify. I mean not the first book, actually. For some reason, they just never made one based on the first book, even though I read that book. I haven't read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I only saw the movie, and that was like my first exposure to the Chronicles of Narnia series. But I ended up reading the first book after realizing, hey, things apparently happen before before The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So I read that book and I was like, oh wow, so this actually like explains why there's a literal portal in a closet. Like, okay. Cool, we get an explanation now. But anyway, yeah, I watched that. And I'm pretty into like theology and stuff. I consider myself to be an agnostic theist at the moment. Not agnostic atheist, but agnostic theist. They sound very similar, but are notably different. Because agnostic atheist means you're not sure there's a God, but leaning towards believing there isn't, while agnostic theist means you're not sure if there's a God, but lean towards believing that there is. Anyway, Chronicles of Narnia is supposed to basically it deliberately mirrors the Christian gospel, and I was raised Christian, so I'm very familiar with the gospel, and it's also potentially the reason why I'm familiar with the movie in the first place, why I even watched it when I was younger, and then like one or two other times, excluding when I saw part of it on June 9th. So I find that part of it for a while. I watched the movie, I like Edmund reveal so many dangerous things to Jadis the White Witch in exchange for having more Trish lights. And the movie kind of accident, but the movie kind of makes it seem like they just do something. When in reality it's out, since I had not read the actual book, but I was on TV tropes again, actually. And I actually reading through the specific trope in which, I forget the name of it, but like, in which accidentally, deliberately, adaptations books, leave out certain information that can make things kind of confusing if you don't have that context. Like, yours truly. They do none of that in the way, which I will get to, because I want to complain about that. So anyway, apparently in the books, they mention that Turkish delights are so addictive that a person could die if it comes to that. And so I was like, oh, Edmund's not petty. He's a drug addict. that I view him very differently now. Since, unfortunately, like, if necessary, will do horrible things just to get, just to get another fix if they need it, because um, they need it that badly. Anyway, oh yeah, and then other movie that I watched, the people who were in my house at the time. The reason why I'm facing it that way is that more people, just my family, but I don't want to be too detailed since I don't know if they want me to be. Anyway, they went outside to play sports, and I don't like sports. So I stayed inside, and I ended up. Oh, actually, even before this, I watched part of Hoppers because they had wanted to watch it. So yeah, I've seen a tiny bit of Hoppers now, probably like maybe less than 30 minutes of it, honestly, before they decided to go out and play sports. But yeah, I've seen a bit of Hoppers now too. Animated movies for the most part aren't really my thing, and unfortunately, Hoppers was no exception. But yeah, although I would say an exception, one of the two exceptions would be the Super Mario Brothers movies for some reason, especially the first one. I don't know why. I'm not even a huge fan of like the Mario video games, but the movie was really good. Especially the first one. The second one was good. The first one was really good, in my opinion. I think the second one, I'm trying not to give too much away again, but I feel like the second one, Super Mario Galaxy, I'm kind of in the middle, where, in my opinion, the people who don't like it have been too harsh, and a lot of the people who do like it have given it too much praise, if that makes sense. Okay, anyway, after that, when they had gone off to play sports, I watched The Greatest Showman. And I sort of have mixed feelings about that movie too, because on one hand, I love it. I first saw it in theaters when I was 11 years old with my grandmother. Shout out to my grandmother, who honestly probably will never see this, but shout out to her because she is an amazing grandmother. Anyway, I went to see it with her, and I remember, based on the trailers, it seemed like something I still wanted to go to and see, but not anything super spectacular. And it's like one of the few times where, in my opinion, the trailer like made it seem less interesting than it was, because oh my gosh, I loved it so much and I still love it. But anyway, yeah, I love the plot, and I love almost all of the soundtrack. The other side, honestly, I could take or leave, although it's my sister loves that movie too, and it's my sister's favorite song. So if we're ever playing the soundtrack together, then I have to play that one. And honestly, it has kind of started to grow on me. I mean, it's not like I hate it, because I sing along to every single song whenever I watch that movie. There's not a reason that I can't sing it. And I always sing along to the other side as well, because it's still fun, even if it's not the best song in and of itself. Additionally, Phil Carlisle slash Zac Efron is very attractive. Extremely attractive. Oh my gosh. Anyway, This is not looking good for my digital footprint, not including me being boy crazy. But, oh yeah. So when I was younger, I didn't know as much about some of the backlash towards that movie, why it existed. Now that I'm older, I learned more about it. And basically, P.T. Barnum wasn't in the movie, although he's not presented as the best guy, he is presented as someone who at least treated the people in his circus decently, especially compared to some other people who actively discriminate against them. And, well, I don't want to spoil too much of what happens, but, like, that discrimination leads to something very bad in the climax, I'll say that. But in real life, I honestly haven't looked into the stories maybe as much as I should, but there are, unfortunately, a ton of stories about these horrible things that he did to people in his circus, like ways he exploited them, that sort of thing. For example, unfortunately, I don't remember a ton of this story either, but like there was this African American slave woman who he exploited. I think she may have been elderly by the time she ended up in his circus, but I could be wrong. But either way, he exploited her from, when she joined the circus until her death, and once she died, he publicized her autopsy. And what I mean is, like, not publicized, like, took a picture and talked about it in a newspaper. I mean, like, he had people come to it as an exhibit. That's one thing off the top of my head that is an actual example of people really being exploited in his circus, unfortunately. And so there's that. And then another controversy that is less commonly talked about, but I still want to highlight, is how ambiguously they handle racism. Like, they sort of imply, I mean, canonically speaking, it is in fact canon that Philip and Anne, how do I phrase this? Okay, so there's clearly an obstacle throughout the movie that is stopping Philip and Anne from getting together. For those of you who don't know, Philip, he is someone who agrees to partner with Peachy. He is basically this old young man who agrees to, played by Zac Efron, who agrees to partner with P.T. Barnum and like own a part of the circus and be working for it now, much to the chagrin of, well, basically the people around him, his parents, that people in his circle, I assume. I don't know. They're kind of vague about that, but yeah. Anyway, and then Anne is one of the circus acts, and she is she's black. She's played by Zendaya. And he falls in love with her, and she and despite having the same feelings for him, is very reluctant to be in a relationship with him due to, again, due to the obstacle. And the reason why I'm referring to it as the obstacle, even though I've mentioned again that is racism canonically, is because they're so vague about it. I want to like present it as someone may see it if they're watching the movie for the first time. So yeah, they're pretty vague about it. Honestly, I was able to gather from age 11 pretty early on that the reason why they couldn't get together was because of racism and because this was like the 1800s. But my sister and one of my friends have both said that they did not gather that and were actually confused as to why they couldn't get together. So for that reason, I think that the backlash is valid because, obviously, even though I caught on to what was happening, apparently a lot of people didn't, and that would obviously be a problem for how well you get the message across. Okay. Again, I keep feeling like there was something else I was going to say, but so to summarize that, while I do love the movie, I have conflicted feelings about it, and I may not always love it. I don't know what to do about that, to be honest. And then there was something else. Yes. Oh, yeah. Dune Part 1. I wanted to go on a rant about that. All right. So basically, I mentioned that I used to be a Timothée Chalamet fan. I used to identify as one and stuff. And that now I am not so sure. Okay, hold on. It's saying my connection is okay, it said my connection is unstable. I don't know if I froze up or what happened from your point of view, but anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the Timothée Chalamet stuff. Oh yeah, I feel like it's gone from like YouTube comments, at least on like videos about him, has gone from like predominantly almost completely negative to being this blend of negative and positive. Probably still slightly more negative, but like I don't know, right or wrong, I think public perception of Timothée Chalamet is changing. So there's oh my gosh. Anyway, how does this relate to Dune besides Timothée Chalamet being in the Dune movies? Let me answer that question. So obviously, the Dune Part 3 teaser trailer was released 2 days after the whole Oscars thing. And also, I would like to point out that I don't necessarily think that Timothée Chalamet lost the Oscar because of the ballet and opera comments, given the fact that voting was already happening by the time that I don't know if it was by the time he said that, but like by the time people realized he said that and got upset about it. Did I mention it was a ballet and opera thing? I don't know. I'm referring to the ballet and opera thing. But oh my gosh. And also because from what I've heard, Michael B. Jordan apparently portrayed, who did win the Oscar, apparently portrayed several characters in one movie, and that I haven't seen Sinners, and I honestly don't know a ton about Michael B. Jordan, but like I have so much respect for anybody who can do that. So I don't know. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I feel like it's disrespecting Michael B. Jordan a bit. Honestly, to be like, oh, the only reason why Timothée Chalamet didn't win is because of the ballet and opera thing, especially when I don't think that happened. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Dune Part 3 trailer comes out. Anyway, I had originally just got onto it to see the comments and be like, oh, okay, are people still mad? And I saw, and well, to answer your question, if you're curious about whether or not they were still mad, I mean, I wouldn't say they were definitely still mad in other areas, corners of YouTube and corners of the internet. But under this trailer specifically, those comments, people were making jokes about his ballet and opera comments, but they didn't exactly seem mad, if that makes sense. And some of them were also positive, and then a lot of them were just about the movie in general, as they should be. Okay, as they should be. But anyway, a lot of them were also about the war chant, and I was like, what is this war chant? I'm intrigued. So I watched the trailer, despite not having a ton of interest in Dune prior to that, and I was like, okay, this actually seems like a really cool movie. Let me watch the first movie, see if I can get into this series. So, like I said, I didn't have much of an interest in Dune before. Had not read the books, and apparently that is a necessity in order to properly understand what was happening in this movie. My brother, the same brother I've been talking about who likes Marvel and DC and stuff, he also wanted to watch it, and so I was like, okay, cool, we'll watch it together, because I figured I should watch it with someone else that I like, just because that way, if I don't enjoy this super long movie, at least I got to bond with somebody instead of just watching it by myself and just being bored. And so that is what happened. And yeah, my brother and I were both like, what is even happening? What is even going on? I feel like a lot of the first half can be summarized by 3 separate sentences. A very boring first half, by the way, if you haven't read the books, and maybe even if you have read the books, I don't know. Okay, I haven't read the books. The first half can be summarized as 3 groups of people talk about spice and wanting spice and how they're going to get the spice. Paul Atreides might be the chosen one, we don't know. Paul Atreides suffers. There, I summarized it for you. You can skip to the second half now. And then the second half, okay, so honestly, the second half was cooler. Like, if the enjoyment of the second half had encompassed like the first 30 minutes of the movie and then it had gotten even cooler, it honestly probably would have been a good movie. But that is not what happened. Instead, you had a boring first half and a kind of entertaining at times second half. Well, not kind of entertaining at times. I'd say it was entertaining for most of the second half, but also only kind of. So, like, the fact that I just sat through a boring second half just kind of made me be like, I'm not a fan. But, yeah, I was quite disappointed, because in addition to watching that trailer, I also had heard that, like, they have some religious cult stuff going on, and I already mentioned my interest in theology, and so I was like, okay, that seems really intriguing in addition to all the cool stuff. And I'm pretty sure they explore that in, like, the second and third movies, if I'm correct. I might not be, at least in the third. But they did not explore that at all in the first movie, which would have been fine if it had been a good movie otherwise, but it was not, in my opinion. Honestly, as someone who has not read the books, I kind of felt as if it was originally like a much, much longer movie, and they had cut out a ton of scenes that would have given me more context. Obviously, that's not what happened, but like that's how it felt to me. Or a bit like, you know how historians, their job is to like look at historical evidence that we have and put together what they think happened based on that. And sometimes that leads to having a ton of information about people, and sometimes it leads to, yeah, we think this guy was born during this range of years. We know when he died, though. We don't know what he was doing for this large chunk of his life, though. We know what he was doing During this time, though, he was doing a notable historical thing then, or, maybe he wasn't, but they still have evidence of what happened, that sort of thing. That's kind of how this movie felt, honestly. Like, it was, I was given some evidence of what happened during an event, and I just had to try and piece together what happened based on this evidence, but I didn't have as much information as would be desired, for sure. Hold on, I made that face because I think I heard something. But, anyway, yeah. What else? Well, I guess, while we are on the subject of Timothy Chalamet, because I wasn't gonna bring, although I saw this movie in June too, I wasn't gonna bring it up because I didn't want to go on a Timothy Chalamet tangent, but I have. So might as well talk about Marty Supreme because I watched that movie too. So that was another one where, like, at first I was like, it seems kind of intriguing. Maybe I'll get to it eventually, but at the moment I'm not super interested. But then there's some subscription my family had on Amazon Prime where it was free for a time, and so I was like, okay, maybe I'll take this opportunity. And I also, at this point, I'd learned a lot about Timothy Chalamet's supposed ego, or maybe actual ego. I haven't looked into it enough, to be honest. Um, and that ego that he supposedly had, or actually had, I'm not sure, during the Marty Supreme press tour. And so I was kind of intrigued. I was like, okay, they hyped up this movie a bunch. Like, what actually happens in this thing? Is it worth their hype? Like, what's going on? Especially since I saw him go on, I don't know the exact name of it, but Jimmy Fallon's late night show. I saw a YouTube clip of that. I'm on YouTube way too much, like outside of my channel. But I had seen that, and Jimmy Fallon said, "You won't regret it. You won't regret watching this movie." So, like, that is pretty major hype. And I was intrigued by that and by other things, and so I was like, okay, let's watch it. Let's see what I think. So I watched that, and I'm not gonna give my opinion quite yet, because honestly, for reasons I'm not gonna go into, I feel like I may have not appreciated the movie as much as I don't know. I don't know how to put it except that I don't think I should give my opinion quite yet for reasons I don't want to go into. And I sort of forgot about that during my tangent until right now. So I do apologize. Something else that I will mention. In my last live stream, I had brought up King of the Hill and their 14 seasons. And I did not know that they were coming out with a 15th season until, sometime after the stream. I saw the trailer. The trailer was released, and I actually watched it again in preparation for the live stream because I did want to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some intriguing things. Bobby and Connie are back together, which I'm excited about. Although she did technically cheat on him in the episode I Don't Want to Wait for Our Lives to Be Over, which that title is based on an awesome song by Paula someone. But yeah, the episode itself, I'd read this thing saying that it was like a touching episode about adolescence. It was not that. It was actually pretty weird. I felt like a lot of the characters involved in it were out of character, but maybe that was the point. Maybe the point was that they were acting weird. I don't know. Honestly, one of the few things that I liked about it was that it prominently featured Bobby, Connie, and Joseph. That was the only good thing I can say about that. It would have been nice to have another one of those episodes, or maybe they did and I just haven't seen it yet. I don't know. I haven't seen every King of the Hill episode by any means, but it would be nice to have another episode like that while they were still kids, or even, I mean, as adults in the 15th or even 16th, if they have a 16th season. Then I'd still be up for that. It would just be a bit different now that they're adults and have different perspectives. Anyway, season 15. I had heard about them making a season 15 due to season 14 going so well, or maybe it had already been renewed for a 15th season before things went so well with the 14th season. I don't know. But yeah. Oh yeah, there is this scene of, and I'm not giving anything away because this is all in the trailer. I don't know anything about it outside of the trailer actually, so I couldn't spoil this season if I wanted to. There's like this scene where Hank and Peggy get scammed by like a deep fake of Bobby's voice saying that he's in jail, and while I think it's terrifying that, sorry, just adjusting things. Well, I think it's terrifying that that's where we're at in our world today. It is a funny scene for sure. And I like that they incorporated that, although I'm not surprised that they did, because if you haven't watched King of the Hill, a huge part of their shtick is incorporating the pop culture of the time, whether that was the 1990s or early 2000s, back when the original show was on, or in the reboot especially. They've incorporated a lot of the 2020s, which has been a fascinating decade to live in. Kind of wish I lived in a different one, not gonna lie. I think a lot of people in my generation feel that way, unfortunately. But yeah, it's definitely been enjoyable during the 14th, and I'm sure now the 15th season, to see various things of the 2020s be incorporated into the show. Especially one of my favorite scenes in the 14th season is when they go to that museum thing, and Dale is just normal Dale. For those of you who don't know, he's like this big conspiracy theories guy, and he always has been, even like in the beginning of the show. But like in the original, when he talked about these conspiracy theories, no one listened to him. Like there is just this general consensus, obviously amongst the audience too, but like amongst the characters as well, that's just Dale being Dale. Don't listen to him. He's crazy. Except for Joseph, who I think did listen to him. Oh, because Joseph is Dale's, not biologically, but Joseph is Dale's not adopted son. Dale and Joseph think that they're father and son, but they are clearly not. But anyway. Oh yeah. So Dale is his normal Dale self while they're at the museum, but this time a bunch of people who are also on the museum tour agree with him. And so that was a very enjoyable and humorous reflection of the 2020s, in my opinion, and how unfortunately off the wall misinformation has become. And I'm not gonna get too into that, but yeah. I have had Promise by Lileigh in my head for a lot of this live stream, actually. I love that song, and obviously I'm a Lileigh fan. I'm sure that it does not come as a shock to people due to, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, due to the amount of Lileigh covers that I have on my YouTube channel. Hold on, just wanted to make sure I was raising the right arm before I did this pointing. This, oh my gosh. Okay, the screen thingy right here. That's really going kind of nuts. Like I feel like it's worse than before, even though I still have the fan on the low setting. Again, I'm not sure what to do about that, given the fact that I do want the fan on so I don't die of heat in here. Oh, I forgot to mention that. I mean, if you saw like the I lost my train of thought. If you saw the post that I made about this live stream, I I forgot to mention on here that I'm doing this to commemorate the 6-month anniversary of basically the first video on my YouTube channel. Because technically, I started this channel, I don't know, officially, I guess, on December 19th, 2025. But like, I was just getting things ready because I made like specific plans to start uploading in January 2026, and that's obviously what I did. But I very much prefer to commemorate the anniversary, whether it's 6 months, 1 month, like I did 1 year, 2 years, etc., etc. I very much prefer to go off of the day I uploaded my first YouTube video rather than the day that I technically started the channel. So that is technically why I'm doing this. So yeah, happy 6-month anniversary. I am actually. I am pretty happy with the progress I've made with the channel. Generally speaking, I know I only have 10 subscribers and my uploads aren't getting a ton of views yet, but overall, 10 subscribers is still pretty nice. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, given the amount of subscribers that I have like just gotten recently, I think that's an indication that the channel's growing, and I'm quite happy to see that. Hopefully that growth continues. Maybe it'll like, I don't know, dip or plateau a bit where like I won't, because I've gotten like kind of a bombardment of subscribers over the past like 2 months actually. So maybe that bombardment will stop and I'll start to get new subscribers more gradually. Maybe not, I don't know. But obviously I hope that things continue as they've been. Oh, back on the subject of Lileigh. A Matter of Time, especially A Matter of Time, The Final Hour, has been such a good album. Like, I'm hoping to be able to find more like YouTube karaoke videos of of songs from A Matter of Time that I actually like am able to upload covers of. Because like I know that there's like this one YouTube channel that has like potentially all of Lileigh's songs in general, but at least all of Lileigh's songs from A Matter of Time uploaded to like, I don't know, sing karaoke of, and it would be awesome if I could use one of those videos, but I don't know if I can yet. That's something I have to look into. Obviously, I uploaded a cover of Snow White recently because that was from Sing King. Shout out to Sing King. And I know for a fact that this might be good information to have if this was something you were wanting to know. They will let you use their things as long as you give them credit in the description, in your description of the YouTube cover, which applies to a lot of different karaoke YouTube channels, although certainly not all of them. There have been some channels that I looked into and wanted to use, but they why can't my brain form words? They said that they wouldn't allow that. So it really does depend. Um since this live stream hasn't had like the turnout that I've wanted, maybe I'll make another attempt. I don't know. I mean, it might be hard, but I was gonna say it might be hard, but I will look into it. If not, hopefully I can do another live stream in August. I'm not getting off quite yet. I'm gonna be on here for 19 more minutes since it's 11:41 right now, and I wanted to be on here until 12. So I'm not getting off quite yet, but I'm just talking about this in general. I would want to do another one in August. I would love to do like a monthly Lileigh chat or something, but I'm not quite sure if that'll work out. So we'll see, I guess. What else? Oh, I should I should mention in my in my previous live stream, I I brought up the fact that I brought up the fact that I pulled into the wrong lane while I was driving. And I just wanted to clarify that I am a good driver most of the time. I am somewhat of a novice driver because I've been driving for, let me think, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, roughly 8 months. So I have not been driving for very long, but yeah, I don't do things like driving in the wrong lane most of the time. That was a very stressful mistake that I made, and I promise I am a better driver than that. I was just checking the time. It's 11:44 now. So 16 more minutes. What do I talk about for 16 minutes? I've been talking a lot about movies. I want to be able to change things up a bit just because I don't know, I feel like I only talked about movies for some of the time last time, and I want to make things more diverse rather than only going on tangents about movies. I guess I talked about Timothy Chalamet a bit, but that was still in the context of movies. And also not the most interesting thing to people who aren't interested in pop culture, although I guess a lot of the things I talk about on here are probably not the most interesting to everyone. Just, when people are on here, because no one's on here right now, then maybe I shouldn't have said that. Then I like to make sure that people are interested in what I'm talking about. But I don't know, on the last live stream, people seemed to enjoy what I was talking about. So yeah. Also, if you were wondering what I was like jiggling just now, hold on. Okay, you can see the features a bit now. Okay, there you go. You can kind of see it. The Kool-Aid cup from last time is back. I thought it might be cool to have it here as a tradition, at least until I move out, because I don't think I can take these with me since, I mean, they're available for anyone to use, but they do technically belong to my mom, and I wouldn't want to take these away from her. So maybe I'll just like get, I don't know, some special cup after that. But for now, this is a special cup, and as you can see, I don't have a drink today, but I have these cheddar rockets from Trader Joe's, which you don't know, you probably don't. It's like this store with like organic, or maybe not organic, I don't know. There's some kind of unhealthy thing in foods that Trader Joe's is known for not having. I forget the details, but they have a bunch of random stuff, and it's awesome stuff. So I would recommend if you have a Trader Joe's near you. But yeah, I would say these cheddar rockets, they taste a lot like goldfish, although they're not quite the same. I used to eat goldfish a lot when I was younger, but my parents, I mean, now that I'm an adult, I can go out and buy goldfish, so I should do that. But I often forget that I'm now an adult with a driver's license who can just go out and buy the things I want. And this was one of those moments. But anyway, when we moved to North Carolina, I'm willing to say the state that I live in and the country I live in is that, and that is all, for not revealing my location, okay? In North Carolina, they have a lot more, well, they'll like let you know if something is bioengineered food ingredients as compared to Arizona, which is where I lived until I was 9 years old, and we moved here. 9.5, actually. I count half birthdays. Maybe that's a side effect of being a December birthday. I don't know. Because we have to celebrate our half birthdays a lot due to, having a birthday in the same month as Christmas exists and winter break and stuff. But anyway, yeah, so we found out about bioengineered food ingredients when we moved here, and guess what goldfish have? So in addition to a bunch of other awesome foods, they did not let us eat goldfish anymore. Which I'm not quite sure how I feel about GMOs and bioengineered food ingredients. I haven't looked into it enough to know if that's actually something I need to avoid. I've heard that I need to. I've heard that I don't need to. Shockingly. But yeah, anyway, I miss goldfish. These taste a lot like goldfish, but not quite. But they are very good, and you should eat them. If you're not vegan or lactose intolerant, of course. I actually am lactose intolerant, technically. But thankfully it's mild enough that really the only things, there's some cheeses that will like make me nauseous. But not most, thankfully. And then there's some, and then like I can't have like full on milk, but it's okay because I drink Fairlife. More free advertising, but honestly, actually, Fairlife really deserves some advertising from me. Because I've had it for so many years and I've been able to like mostly it does taste a bit different, but like it's a bit less sweet because of like the lactose being a sugar that's not in there. I think that's why it's less sweet. That's just a theory. I don't know. But like I've been able to taste something that mostly tastes like actual milk while not laying on my couch because I'm so nauseous. So that has been great. And normally I'm kind of like, ooh, should they be getting free advertising? But in the case of Fairlife, they so deserve it. Okay, if you're lactose intolerant, you should go get some Fairlife if it's available to you. I don't know if it's available outside of America, but if it is, and you're lactose intolerant and not American, you should get it. It's Lileigh Roswell approved. Dropped another one of my rings. I'm going to show you my rings because set that down. I'm going to show you my rings because I'm proud of my rings. Okay, so can't. Oh my gosh, I hold my hand the right way. So you can't see super well, but this is like rainbow topaz with a heart and some diamonds around it, or mystic topaz. That's another name for it. And then this is like they're like amethyst gems in here, but it's hard to see. Again, and I'm wearing this like bluish greenish eyeshadow that I put on, but you can't really see it. I often have like these elaborate eye makeup looks during my covers, but you can't really see them except for the eyeliner, which is really frustrating. But yeah, I don't know. Just keep that in mind, I guess, or don't. Anyway, oh, so then you have like emeralds and like the diamond and stuff. Not emeralds, one emerald. And this one just has some random gems in it. And then you can't really see, but one of the gems fell out a long time ago. And that was like this nice light pink gem. And I love pink. And I also love for my jewelry to not be partially broken. So I've missed that pink gem. But it's okay. I'm still perfectly willing to wear it because it still looks good for the most part. And then, so it might be my favorite. You can't really see it, but it's like this dragonfly with some colorful gems in it. Yeah, you really can't see it, which makes me sad. I love dragonflies. And I think a part of why is because they don't really have any, not that they don't have any in Arizona. In fact, my first memory of seeing a dragonfly was when we went up to the mountains in Arizona. Because I actually didn't know this for a really long time since I lived in, again, I'm just not going to reveal the city, even though I don't live there anymore. But, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I lived in like the stereotypical desert area of Arizona, and since we moved when I was 9.5, then I didn't know this, but apparently Arizona is one of the most diverse U.S. states when it comes to like the biome or whatever. And so like northern Arizona isn't quite a desert. Again, I did not know that. But anyway, I do have this memory of going to the mountains in Arizona as a kid and seeing a dragonfly for the first time, and it was so wonderful. It made me so happy. And then we moved here, and all of a sudden, in North Carolina, or at least the region that I live in, it's not like you see them. I'm not even going to say the region out of the 3 regions that I live in, because even I feel like even that is a bit too close to people knowing where I am. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. in the region where I live in North Carolina, you don't see like a ton of dragonflies. It's not like you're seeing them all the time, but they are definitely here. Maybe I see them like a few times a year, maybe more. I don't know. Enough for me to be like, yay, dragonflies, you know? And then fireflies is another one. There were not fireflies in the region of Arizona that I lived in. But we get fireflies in the summer a lot here. And then, well, one of my chores at my house and stuff is to like take out the recycling. So, I'll do that. I'll like go out and do that. And the past few times that I've been doing that, I've seen like all of these fireflies. Well, like if I'm doing it like in the evening or something, or like, yeah, because sometimes I do. I guess I have been the past few times. I don't know, but anyway, I'll see like these fireflies, and it's so awesome and beautiful in general. But like, especially as someone who didn't see that for like the first 9.5 years of her life or whatever. Oh my gosh, I love fireflies and the song Fireflies. Um, and then another thing actually is snow. Um, my first real snow, or not my first real snow, my first snow in general happened when I was in kindergarten. Okay, in Arizona. Here's what it consisted of, all right? There was a tiny bit of snow. Really not even enough, like, maybe it covered a few things in snow a little bit, but not really. All of us kindergartners, like, freaked out because, snow in Arizona, in a desert area of Arizona, I mean. So, we were all freaked out and stuff. We're like, snow! But really, it was no big deal, as were all of the other snows that happened when I lived there. Sorry if that was intense. I can do that unintentionally sometimes. But then in January 2017, when I was newly 10 years old, because again, December birthday, we had our first snow that we had when I was in North Carolina, because in the region that I live in, we tend to get snow like like a nice big snow every 2 years. Although some years we've gotten more. This recently actually, back in late January to early February, we had quite a bit of snow. There's like this one time where it snowed, and then that managed to stick for a few days, and then after that it snowed again, and that also managed to stick for a few days. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, anyway, so I remember I woke up to that snow. I mean, when I was 10, because it had snowed overnight. And that was incredible. I remember, due to being so young and due to like living in a desert area at least. There was civilization for sure. I don't want it to seem like it was like Dune or something. The city that I lived in actually had a pretty large population. I hope that doesn't give too much away. It probably doesn't. I'm sure there are a lot of Arizona cities with pretty large populations, especially if you're going by the standards of there was civilization and it wasn't like Dune. Anyway, I was so used to that, and I was so young that like I had seen snow in paintings before, or like what it looks like when there's snow on the ground and when there's snow on tree branches and fences and stuff. And I wasn't I hadn't even been sure whether or not that was actually what it looked like until that morning. So that's yeah, that's an awesome memory for sure. All right, I'm probably going to go off at 12:01. It's currently 11:59, and I know I said I was going to stay until 12, but like I know I'm so insane for going 1 minute over. But my reasoning is that I want this live stream to be a full 2 hours. So yeah, the minutes it'll be like an hour and 59 minutes and some amount of seconds if I go off right at 12. And I don't want that. I don't know what to talk about for the last almost minute though. All right, yeah, we have less than a minute left. I don't want it to just be like you staring at me eating. I'll just show you these bracelets, I guess. I don't know. I used to have more bracelets here, but like these are one of those bracelets where it's like beads on elastic. And so the elastic like got torn apart or something. I don't know. I'm not really complaining, honestly. I've had these bracelets since I was at least a freshman in high school, maybe even like 8th grade or something like that. So like ultimately, it's okay. All right. We just hit the 2-hour mark. So I'm going to go. Hopefully, the more that I think about it, the more that I do kind of want to do another 6-month live stream because this one was kind of a downer, to be honest. I'm sorry. Perhaps I can arrange the next one better so that more people can come, or any people besides my one friend. And yeah, regardless, I still had fun though. Anyway, I'm going to stop my tangent now. Bye. Oh, bye.